Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you live in Central Texas, you already know our climate doesn't exactly play fair. I mean, it pushes air conditioning systems harder than almost anywhere else in the country. So today, we're going to dive right into exactly why maintaining your home's comfort in the Austin area is such a unique beast, and we'll figure out how you can make some really smart financial decisions about your system. Let's get into it.
So why do Austin AC units die so young? You look at standard manufacturer guidelines, right? And they'll promise you a solid 20-year lifespan for an HVAC system. But here in Austin, honestly, you're lucky if your unit even passes the 12-year mark. It's crazy. We're going to unpack exactly what's cutting those lifespans so brutally short. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the Austin Climate Challenge. Then, common system failures. Third, the 5,000 rule. Fourth, why sizing and standards matter. And finally, the three-step process. Number 1, the Austin Climate Challenge.
You know, it's not just the heat down here, it's the whiplash. Austin really throws a 1-2 punch at your house. You've got weeks of relentless 100-degree heat that practically cooks your compressor. And then, boom, that's contrasted with these rare, sudden freezing nights that expose cracked heat exchangers. So your system might run continuously for days on end during a summer heat wave, only to sit totally idle for months, right? And then suddenly, a January freeze forces it right back into high gear. This drastic swinging between extremes, it just causes immense mechanical stress.
But hey, the secret villain isn't actually up in the sky, it's right beneath your feet. Central Texas is famous for its caliche soil. It's expansive. What does that mean? Well, it means it swells and shrinks dramatically with our wet and dry seasons. And this shifting literally moves your foundation, which then physically pulls and tears your attic duct connections apart over time. So when that happens, you could literally be paying a massive premium just to air condition your attic insulation. How crazy is that? Ultimately, this extreme environment acts like a fast-forward button for your AC. A compressor that would normally give you 18 reliable years in a mild climate, it'll often just tap out at 12 years while battling Austin's intense elements. Literally every single component, from the blower motors to the capacitors, just degrades so much faster here.
Moving on to number 2, common system failures.
Okay, so when the climate finally does take its toll, you're going to start noticing some classic red flags. These can be anything from systems that run 12 straight hours a day just to hit 75 degrees, to these massive, totally unexplained spikes in your summer electricity bills. If your heater suddenly refuses to start on a cold morning, or worse, your AC is blowing warm air right as July hits, well, your system is basically crying out for help.
Plus, Austin gets this incredibly humid air just rolling up from the Gulf, and you know what loves humidity? Algae and mold. It creates the perfect breeding ground deep inside your unit. If that gunk clogs up your drain lines, the water has literally nowhere to go but to overflow your drain pan. Next thing you know, it's coming straight through your drywall and ceilings. It's wild to think that simple condensation can turn into a major home disaster, just like that. And remember those disconnected attic ducts we were talking about earlier with the caliche soil? Well, those leaks can instantly slash your system's efficiency by 30% or more. That is a massive drop. And it doesn't just mean a clammy house. It means your compressor is burning through electricity trying to achieve the exact same cooling. It's wasting power and driving those bills straight through the roof. Section 3, the 5,000 rule. So, when you're staring down these failures, you really need a quick antidote to prevent making a terrible financial decision. Enter the golden rule of HVAC repair, the 5,000 rule. This is a super handy industry standard, especially in high-stress climates like ours. The math here is actually really simple. You just multiply your unit's age in years by the estimated repair cost. If that number comes out to over 5,000, you should replace the unit. Let me give you an example. Say you have a 12-year-old system with a $500 repair bill. 12 times 500 equals 6,000. Since 6,000 is greater than 5,000, the math basically makes the decision for you. In this case, replacing the whole thing is definitely the smarter financial move. Because honestly, continuing to fix an aging, stressed-out system in Austin's relentless heat, it's just throwing good money after bad. Getting a new high-efficiency system isn't just about reliability. It's going to immediately start lowering those massive summer energy bills, essentially paying you back over time. All right, number 4, sizing and standards matter. Okay, so if you do bite the bullet and replace your system, technical standards are about to be your absolute best friend.
Listen, lazy contractors will just guess the size of the unit you need based purely on your home's square footage. But true professionals, they use a very specific calculation called the manual J load calculation. This perfectly matches the equipment to your home because it takes into account literally everything: the direction your house faces, how much shade you get from trees, your insulation levels, even your window sizes. And getting that sizing precise is so vital because in HVAC, bigger is definitely not always better. Oversized units will actually cool the air way too fast and shut off before they even get a chance to pull the humidity out of the air. That leaves your house feeling all clammy and damp. And on the flip side, undersized units, they'll just run 24/7, constantly driving up your electric bill without ever actually getting the house cool. It's a lose-lose if it's not sized right. Standards also totally matter when it comes to the actual chemicals cooling your home. Modern refrigerants like R410A, they operate at much higher pressures than the older stuff. So if you have unlicensed contractors trying to cut corners by just dumping new refrigerant into an old, incompatible system, they will literally destroy your compressor. Doing this right requires almost surgical precision, proper evacuation, exact weighing with calibrated scales, the whole shebang. Finally, Section 5, the three-step process. When a breakdown inevitably happens, you really just want a straightforward process. Local experts like All Pro HVAC Austin, they use a super transparent approach. You schedule a time, they diagnose the problem, you approve the cost, and then they fix and test it. And since they bring fully stocked trucks loaded with parts meant specifically for Austin's climate, you almost always get your system back up and running in a single visit. No waiting around for days while parts ship in 105-degree heat. The big promise here is zero surprises. I think every homeowner's biggest fear is getting some tiny quote over the phone, right? Only for the contractor to show up, dismantle your machine, and suddenly triple the price. A proper process gives you a really clear, plain language diagnosis and an upfront price before a single wrench is even turned. It puts you in total control of your budget. So I'll leave you with this question to ask yourself today. When that next brutal heat wave inevitably hits Central Texas, is your home going to be a comfortable sanctuary, or are you just going to be paying to air condition your attic? Take the time to understand your system, definitely remember that $5,000 rule, and make sure you rely on true professionals who actually get the unique challenges of the Austin climate. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and hey, stay cool out there.